one of the hardest moments of his life. A young university student struggles to get through each day, balancing between his studies and a tiring part-time job. He barely has time to rest, let alone time for himself. But what drains him even more than exhaustion is the heartbreak of being dumped by his longtime girlfriend without warning. Everything falls apart overnight. His world turns gray. The stress from work and the pressure from school mix with heartbreak, becoming a heavy weight on his chest. He loses motivation for everything, avoiding people and drifting through life like someone lost in the dark. And while he's drowning in loneliness, there's a pair of eyes quietly watching him from the next balcony. She is Rio, the woman living next door. A single office lady who lives a simple, quiet life. Every evening she sits by herself with a can of beer, gazing at the city lights as if trying to escape her own solitude. One day, after seeing the young man return home with the same sad expression again and again, Rio finally breaks the silence. She walks over, hands him a can of beer, gives a faint smile, and softly says, "Tough day, huh? Here, have a drink. It might make you feel a little better." From that night on, everything starts to change. Two strangers begin to grow closer quietly, standing by each other's side. Rio listens to him, comforts him, speaking with warmth and honesty. She seems to understand his pain because she herself has been through it before. Slowly, he starts to smile again. He begins to find strength to live his life. And she starts to feel that maybe her life has meaning once more. Yet beneath the warmth that grows between them lies something unspoken, a bond deeper than neighbors. A feeling they both try to ignore, but becomes clearer each time their eyes meet. Night after night, their small rooms are filled with laughter and genuine conversation. And little by little, the young student's painful days begin to fade away. Because someone chose to share their loneliness, to fill the emptiness in his heart. But it's not always easy to let go of the past. There are moments when memories of his ex return. Moments when Rio sees him staring blankly at his phone, and she knows that part of his heart is still healing. Instead of saying anything, she simply sits beside him, opening another can of beer and sharing the silence. Because sometimes, the best kind of comfort isn't in words, it's just being there. And for Rio, it's strange. After years of being alone, she finds herself waiting to hear his footsteps in the hallway, listening for the sound of his key turning in the door. Somehow, his presence fills the quiet emptiness she once thought she'd gotten used to. The nights stretch on, filled with quiet laughter, soft glances, and moments that linger just a little too long. What started as a small act of kindness has slowly turned into a connection neither of them can quite define. Maybe it's friendship. Maybe it's love, or maybe it's something that exists in between, a space where two lonely hearts meet, not to fix each other, but to remind one another that they're not alone anymore. Sometimes when we feel heartbroken or lost, we don't need advice or solutions. We just need someone to listen, someone who truly understands, who stays by our side when everything falls apart. Because in the end, it's not about fixing the pain, but knowing that we're not facing it alone. This is a heartwarming story of healing, not through beautiful words, but through the quiet presence of two people who truly understand each other's pain. The Difficult Days of a Young Student is not just a story about love or loneliness. It's a reflection of youth, of how people struggle against the harsh reality of life, and how sometimes the person who helps us stand again is not the one we once loved, but the one who quietly stayed by our side, without us even realizing it. And maybe that's what real connection is all about. Not passion that burns too bright, but warmth that lasts. The kind that stays with you long after the night has ended.